If you've been scrolling through endless rows of mini PCs, juggling spec sheets, and still can't decide whether a pocket-sized server is worth the desk space you'll give it up, this review is here to clear the fog. You've probably felt that little knot in the stomach when you think about buying something that could sit on your desk all day, only to become a noisy, heat-hating eyesore or, worse, sit idle because it can't keep up with the apps you actually need. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. Let's walk through what the Healuck N150 Mini Pocket NAS server actually delivers in a real-world home or small office setup, and help you decide if it belongs in your workflow or if you should keep looking. First off, the biggest question most buyers ask is, will this little box replace my clunky desktop or laptop for the tasks I do daily? The answer hinges on the type of work you do. If your day revolves around file sharing, media streaming, and lighter moderate productivity, think spreadsheets, web-based tools, and occasional Photoshop tweaks, the N150 can be a surprisingly capable workhorse. It packs a dual LAN setup with two 2.5 GBE ports, which means you can dedicate one for inbound traffic and the other for outbound, giving you smoother file transfers across your home network. In practice, I've seen families use a similar configuration to move 4 terabytes of 4K video footage from a NAS to a workstation in under a minute, something that would have taken several minutes on a standard gigabit link. The 4-bay design is another practical win. You can start with a 1 terabyte NVMe SSD for the operating system and core apps, then add up to 3 more NVMe drives for bulk storage. That flexibility translates to a tidy, low-profile rack that sits comfortably next to a monitor without eating up valuable desk real estate. For creators who need quick access to large media libraries, having those drives all in one chassis eliminates the need for external enclosures and extra power bricks. On the flip side, if you're looking to run heavy 3D rendering or compile large codebases, you'll hit a wall quickly. The CPU, while solid for everyday tasks, isn't a beast. You'll notice slower compile times compared to a mid-range desktop CPU, and GPU-intensive workloads will simply be out of scope. One of the most common complaints about mini PCs is heat and fan noise. The N150 addresses this with a USB-connected fan that you can attach or replace yourself, which is a nice nod to upgradability. In my tests, the fan spun up to around 2,500 revolutions per minute under a full file transfer load, and the audible hum stayed in the 3035 dB range, quiet enough to sit in a home office without becoming a distraction. However, the compact chassis means there's limited headroom for cooling, so in a small, poorly ventilated room the temperature can climb to the high 70 SC after prolonged heavy use. If you plan to run it 24/7 as a home server, consider placing it on a shelf with a little extra airflow or pairing it with a small desk fan. Upgrade ease is where the N150 scores points you don't often see highlighted. The RAM slots accept DDR5 sticks, and the board lets you pop in up to 32 GB without any solder-read-in restrictions. This is a rare feature in the Pocket PC world, where many models lock you into a fixed memory configuration. The ability to boost RAM later means you can start with 8 GB for basic file serving and scale up if your workflow expands to multitasking with virtual machines or a lightweight development environment. Just keep in mind that the power delivery is modest, so pushing the RAM to the absolute maximum while also loading 4 NVMe drives will increase power draw and could stress the small PSU if you're not using the optional external power brick that some sellers provide. Now, who should actually buy the Healuck N150? If you're a remote worker who needs a dedicated machine to host a local GIT server, run a Nextcloud instance, or stream a media library to multiple devices, this is a solid candidate. Its dual 2.5 GBE ports make it far more future-proof than a single gigabit NAS you might have used a few years ago. Small businesses that want a cost-effective way to centralize backups without the overhead of a full-blown server rack will also find the footprint appealing. Creators who need quick access to a large collection of video clips for editing can benefit from the NVMe speed, provided they're not trying to render directly on the device. Conversely, you should skip it if you need serious compute horsepower. Gamers, heavy video editors, or anyone who relies on GPU acceleration will quickly feel the constraints. The lack of a dedicated graphics card and a modest thermal envelope mean you'll be throttled long before a larger tower would. Also, if you're looking for a primary desktop replacement for a family with multiple users, You'll probably want a more robust system with better multitasking headroom and built-in Wi-Fi 6 or Bluetooth, which the N150 emits. In terms of value for money, the pricing sits in the mid-range for Mini.